The chairman just took a bite of stir-fried noodles from a street vendor. To his surprise, it tasted like the dish his late wife used to make. When he was young, he was busy with work. His wife would make him a bowl of stir-fried noodles every night. Every time he finished eating, he would encourage her to set up a stir-fried noodle stall. When he heard the young man say that he learned to make stir-fried noodles from his mother, the chairman excitedly asked the young man what his mother's name was. It turns out that 20 years ago, the man decided to go abroad to work for a better life. Before he left, he told his eldest son to take good care of his mother and younger brother. 20 years later, the man had become a chairman worth hundreds of billions. He sent 200,000 yuan in living expenses home every month. However, his eldest son pocketed all the money. He falsely claimed that his father had already passed away. He not only refused to pay his younger brother's tuition, but he also kicked his sick mother and younger brother out of the house. Just as they left, the father suddenly returned to the country. Seeing his father dressed poorly, the eldest son assumed his father's company had gone bankrupt. To find out how much savings his father still had, he respectfully invited him back home. As soon as the father entered, he asked about his wife and younger son. He said that he had come back to the country to spend his later years with his wife. Fearing that his father would find out the truth about his mother's condition and deprive him of his inheritance rights, the eldest son lied, saying that his mother and younger brother had died in a car accident. The father was heartbroken upon hearing this. He planned to visit the cemetery to commemorate his wife. However, he was stopped by his eldest son and daughter-in-law. They told him to rest first and go to the cemetery the next morning. Reluctantly, the father agreed. Afterward, the eldest son and daughter-in-law eagerly began searching through the luggage, but they found only a 1 million yuan savings book. The couple thought their father was no longer of any use to them. They planned to devise a way to get rid of him, so they called him to the living room. They demanded he hand over another 1 million yuan or pack his things and leave. The father was very angry upon hearing this. He never expected his eldest son to be so unfilial, and so, he was kicked out of the house. He asked through the door where his wife and younger son were buried. The eldest son told him to find it on his own. He could only walk helplessly down the street with his luggage. By chance, he saw a young man selling stir-fried noodles by the roadside and felt a sense of familiarity. He ordered a serving of stir-fried noodles. To his surprise, when he ate it, it tasted so familiar. But he knew in his heart that his wife had passed away. It was impossible for her to be making stir-fried noodles for him here. So, the chairman called the young man to settle the bill. He asked if the young man had dropped out of school. The young man replied that he was already a university student. He was just running the stall during his spare time to earn some money for his mother's medical treatment. The chairman also learned from others that the young man had an older brother. So, he asked why the young man's brother didn't come to help. The young man silently waved his hand and didn't respond. He didn't answer the question directly. Seeing this, the chairman didn't ask further. He scanned the QR code on the table and transferred 50,000 yuan to the young man. The young man quickly pointed out that he had overpaid. The chairman was touched by the young man's filial piety, so he paid $50,000 for the young man to treat his mother. The young man firmly refused to accept it. The chairman then suggested that the young man take him on a tour of the city the next day, and to visit the cemetery to honor his wife. The next day, the chairman went to the villa to find his eldest son. He immediately asked about the whereabouts of his wife and younger son. To his surprise, the eldest son angrily pushed him aside. He warned him that if he knew what was good for him, he should go back abroad and make money again. The chairman had come back this time to hand over the trillion-dollar assets of his group to his eldest son, but he never expected his eldest son and daughter-in-law to be unfilial. So, he changed his mind and gave up on this plan. That evening, he returned to the young man's stir-fried noodle stall. Eating the stir-fried noodles, it still had that familiar